What's going on, Soul Tribe? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and bringing another little nugget to add to the Soul Tribe archive. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Sun in Sagittarius in the 4th house. Now, when you think about the sun is the life of the chart. It's where it gives the what gives the body energy, the thing that fuels it, the soul energy. When we're talking about the sun, the higher light of the mind, where we get our inspirations, where we, that urge to shine, to build, that higher calling in life. Those can be all of the things that the sun can embody. And working with that sun really helps the native, I find, just really kind of shine bright. So the closer relationship that you have with that sun, and with any of the planets, of course, the better. Especially in a day chart. But then you get to Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Big Papa, Jupiter, and they are the mutable fire sign, and they're active or yang in nature. And what I find with Sagittarius, I like to think of them as the adventurer archetype, because Jupiter gives them that energy of that there's something grander than themselves. There's always another experience. That fire energy is constantly moving in Sagittarius. And you'll see Sagittarius constantly moving, whether that be, maybe literally driving around, walking around, just kind of on the go, or maybe even more of kind of a mental capacity. Maybe you see them doing a lot of studying, whatever that might be. But Sagittarius energy is always growing. The fires are always churning there and wanting to evolve. And that's where I think they get that excitement, that enthusiasm, that optimism, because no experience is going to be the same. Today is a new day, and how do we want to switch it up? What haven't we seen before? So that's a really, I think, really great thing that I really love about Sagittarius energy. And then just talking about it in general. And then you talk about the 4th house. The 4th house in traditional astrology was known as the subterranean place. And it's the lowest part of the chart. This is where the IC is going to live, and this is one of the angular houses. So it's a real kind of potent house amongst the houses. But some of the themes that the 4th house covers is going to be like your family or parents, and not just like your parents, but even you as a parent if you become a parent. This can deal with just like the home space, like land, property, real estate, foundations. That's another thing, but not just like home foundations. But I like to think of the 4th house too as you're just the roots of who you are, the foundation that is you, and the things that you've built upon, this journey that you've gone through, the things that you've felt and experienced. This can also be the house of like ancestors is another thing that comes up with this house, but also can be just like the end of all matters, so that's another thing. Those are just going to be some of the themes that the 4th house covers. But when you're working with this placement, a couple of things to consider. You'd have a Virgo rising by whole sign, and you're going to want to look to Big Papa, because Jupiter is going to be responsible for this house and for your 7th house, which deals with like your relationships, enemies, living abroad, things along those lines. And then the sun is going to be responsible for your 12th house, which that's a tougher house. It can deal with like great illnesses. It can deal with isolation, sorrows, tribulations, toils, things along, sufferings, just things, those lovely topics. But a couple of things that I would talk about with a person with this placement is, what is your relationship with home? Like is the home space, and not just like your home, but even just like the area that you're living in, your homeland, is it one that you find that is promoting growth for you? Is it fostering the things that the ambitions that you want to do in life? So that would be something. And just like having your space be something that it recharges you. Now, being that it's a mutable sign in the home space, this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have just one place and just have to stay rooted down. Maybe you have a couple of places that you're going to. Maybe you have, considering that the sun rules that 12th house, and thinking about like isolation, this could be where maybe you need to have a place where you have your home space, and then you have a place where you go off to just kind of recharge, to kind of, especially maybe if you're going through, or when you're going through any sort of like 12th house transits, or if you know someone maybe close around you that's going through those transits, you just need a little bit of space, having somewhere where you can get away for a little while, to just kind of be, to kind of process, to kind of recharge your energies, to think about, okay, how do I want to grow through this thing? That could be something. Going on retreats, possibly, or like booking a place in the woods, or maybe a place by the beach or by a river, or some area where you can find that peace that promotes yeah, just a kind of that quality time in the home. The home should be a sanctuary for you, and I would even think too, this could be where, when we're looking at how you've learned maybe to move through what you maybe have observed through like your family, through your parents, because maybe you grew up in a space where you had to, considering those 12th house themes flow to that 4th house, maybe, and this doesn't have to apply to everyone, of course, but it's just like maybe you had a period of time where you were taking care of someone in the household, or maybe it was something where you were maybe homebound for a little while, and you had to find different ways of keeping that energy moving, even if you can't, because the beautiful thing about Sagittarius, I think, is that it's not just about them just going, like going to foreign places, like constantly being on the move. The mind can be moving too. The mind is a very powerful thing. And so maybe if you found yourself where you maybe had to take care of someone, or maybe you were being taken care of in the home space, having those sort of practices when you're in isolation to deal with those sort of like sufferings, toils, and things. And who knows what that may turn into. Maybe you end up writing some sort of books or things, or maybe you end up creating a whole, why not? Some sort of like facility. Again, maybe instead of you going to the retreats, maybe you're the one that's creating these places for people to come to retreat to. So that could be another option there. I would definitely say doing something maybe as far as like, maybe getting involved in some sort of real estate could be exciting, another exciting place or thing, manifestation for this placement. I could see that. I think that would be really cool, especially maybe even places going abroad, considering that Jupiter rules these 2 houses. But again, apply that to your situation. But another thing that I could maybe see this kind of manifesting as is looking at maybe when we're talking about like ancestors, for example, maybe there's, again, that 12th house themes. We talk about chronic illnesses. Maybe there's some things that maybe you come from a line of maybe your families that had like alcoholism, or maybe some sort of like drug abuse, or maybe just like emotional, just things that have kind of been passed down the lineage. And, you may become a point where you think about where you becoming a parent and you're just like, what? I want to end this. I want to be the one that changes the energy. Sagittarius, I think they're really, again, great for that. Let's not stay in the same old, same old. Let's switch things up, especially if it's something where it hasn't been working. So that could be something very powerful where you do, maybe something first in the family, maybe breaking some ancestral things. That could be another way that this shows up for you here. But yeah, those would be just some base things that I would think about, with this placement. You definitely need the rest of the chart to get a better picture, a broader picture of what this could look like for you. But if you have this placement or know someone who has this placements, down in the comment section, tell us how this has showed up for you, how this has manifested for you here. But also too, if you want to work more personally with your natal placement, or if you want to work with any sort of like transits and things like that, see how these energies are moving through your charts, how to better work with the energies that are coming through there. Down in the description box is a link for the prices there's a list for the prices that I offer for my services, and there's my email down there if you have any questions about any of the services that I offer. And then there's also a link for my other channel, the Chariot and Friends, where I do these daily videos when I release them whenever the moon changes signs, and I just talk about the lunar astrology and do a tarot card reading and I Ching reading at the end of that there. So little something there little something extra there for you. But until next time, stay mindful out there. Keep raising that vibration through the roof. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.